All right. So, Lord, open our eyes.
Lord, open our
Lord,
eyes.
open our eyes
So we can see
Hello.
something we've never seen before.
So we can
So
see
we can see
something
something that
We've
we've never
never
seen
seen
before.
before.
Open our ears
Open
Open
our
open
our
our
ears
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 so we can hear something we've never heard before.
so
so
we
we
can
can
so
hear
we can
hear
hear
something we've
something
something
never
we've
we've
never
never
before.
heard
heard
before.
before.
And open our hearts
And
And
open
Open
our
open our
hearts
hearts
so we can receive something we've never received before.
so
so
we
we
can
can
so
receive
we can
something we
receive
never
something we've
received.
never
something we've never
received
received
before.
before.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. So this week's Bible study lesson was on chapters 13 and 14. So we all know I'm gonna read and I'm gonna read aloud and you guys read silently in whatever version Bible that you have. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Abram went up from Egypt to the Negev, he, his wife, and all he had, and Lot with him. Abram was very rich in livestock, silver, and gold. He went by stages from the Negev to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai, where his tent had formerly been, to the site where he had built the altar, and Abram called on the name of the Lord there. Now Lot, who was traveling with Abram, also had flocks, herds, and tents. But the land was unable to support them as long as they stayed together, for they had so many possessions that they could not stay together. And there was quarreling between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. At that time, the Canaanites and the Perizzites were living in the land. So Abram said to Lot, please let's not have quarreling between you and me, or between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, since we are relatives. Isn't the whole land before you? Separate from me. If you go to the left, I will go to the right. If you go to the right, I will go to the left. Lot looked out and saw that the entire plain of the Jordan, as far as Dor, was well watered, everywhere like the Lord's garden and the land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose the entire plain of the Jordan for himself. Then Lot journeyed eastward, and they separated from each other. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, but Lot lived in the cities on the plain and set up his tent near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were evil, sinning immensely against the Lord. After Lot had separated from him, the Lord said to Abram, look from the place where you are. Look north and south, east and west, for I will give you and your offspring forever all the land that you see. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust of the earth, then your offspring could be counted. Get up and walk around the land through its length and width, for I will give it to you. So Abram moved his tent and went to live near the oaks of Mam at Hebron, where he built an altar to the Lord. All right. So if I had to give this Bible study lesson a title, I'm titling it, I Got Four and a Possible. I Got Four and a Possible. So one of the most popular games that are played at most Black cookouts, parties, or game nights is spades. Ain't nothing like sitting around a table with three other people and a deck of cards to play a game that is strategic, but is also fun. It's something about that table and where you sit that makes the difference. And for those of us who have been playing for a while, you may have been at a spades tournament a time or two. My sisters have game nights all the time, and spades is the number one game that is played. You can hear people whispering about who is going to be partners, and you get mad if the person you normally play with didn't show up on time or is not coming at all. It's always a bunch of trash talking about who is the best and who is going to beat. Now, I don't know about your house, but in my house, spades is a serious game. Right? Right after started, sometimes tables get turned, people get put out because they're about to fight. Unfortunately, friendships, relationships, brotherhoods, and sisterhoods get tested at the spades table. Some relationships, I hate to say, are over because of how the game played out. And don't let food and alcohol start playing a part in the outcome of the game either, because that takes the game to a whole nother level, not to mention money. One of my sisters which will remain nameless, is real serious. And if you mess up, she is not going to speak to you for a while and you won't hear the end of it. How many on this Zoom today played spades or know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Anybody else
and I
on here?
played with your sisters too, so I know.
You play? Who said that? Courtney?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else out here know exactly how serious a spades game can be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's when me and my mama leave, because y'all play too long. We be like, all right, it's over.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's real bad. Is there anybody on here who is not familiar with the game of spades? You know, you could just do a raise your hand emoji. It's no judgment zone.
I'm familiar with it, but I don't play it. But so I
But
wouldn't
you know
like how
the
serious
process
people
of the
get.
game. Okay, but so
Yeah.
you know how people be ready to fight over a spades game.
That's why I don't play it, because it's too
That's
much.
why you don't play, Shantini?
Yeah,
it's real. Especially when you playing with real players and they come with their own deck of cards and you know it's real. Okay, so I'm gonna ask a couple questions. So the first question I'm asking is, what is the most important rule when playing spades?
Don't renege.
That's not the most important rule, but that is a rule to me. Hold on to that. We can come back.
Don't cut your partner.
Don't talk across the board. Don't cut your partner. Okay, this kind of got something to do with the most important rule.
Reading your hand.
That's coming up too, Courtney. Hold on to that.
I'ma say picking your partner.
My God, Ashley, that's the most important rule.
Ashley wouldn't have the answer.
The person you playing with, and you gotta be comfortable, and it gotta be somebody you trust. That's the number one rule for playing spades. So, what's the second rule? The second rule, Courtney, you said the second rule. What's the second rule for playing spades?
Reading your hand.
Reading your hand. Knowing how to count your books. For those who don't know what books are, that's how you count. How many sets of cards you can get. So when you're looking at your cards, you know, and you counting and say, okay, I got 5, or like the title, I got 4 in the possible. And so what's the third rule of playing spades?
Is it don't renege?
That's coming up.
Not cutting your partner.
I don't have that one listed, but I like that one. What you know what I should have told y'all? Let's go back so y'all can write these rules down, because I'm gonna explain the rules in the text. So the first rule is know your partner. The second rule is know how to count your books. The third rule is we gotta know the difference between the big and the little joker. You always asking when you playing on the cards, which one is the big joker? Which one is the little joker? That's important. The fourth rule, Abney, what's the fourth rule? You just said it.
Don't renege.
Don't renege. And the possible rule is let's not get set and cost us the game. All right, so in Genesis 13, we find ourselves playing in a spades tournament with Abram and Lot being partners. And I would say they are playing at Abram's house. And we know when you play spades at somebody's house, you ask what the house rules are. And then we play based on those rules. Does anybody have any specific rules that you got play when y'all playing at your house? Any house rules? Ashley, I know you got this.
What was the question again? Story.
What's some of your house rules for playing spades?
First hand bid itself.
First hand bid itself. Okay.
No talking across the table.
Don't talk across the board. That's gonna get you cut.
If you get set on the first hand, the game over.
The game over.
What else we do? We play Deuces Wild.
Sometimes you gotta play Deuces Wild. Okay.
We don't do overbooks. So whatever you bid is what you get.
Whatever you bid is what you get. Ain't no overbooks. Anybody else got any rules she haven't mentioned that you've come across when you play your spades game? Okay. like they were winning in the beginning as partners, Abram and Lot. But like a lot of times in spades, especially when drinks are involved, somebody starts talking trash and the game begins to take a turn. For Abram and Lot, the game begins to turn when the land wasn't big enough for both of them to stay and had one spade tournament. So then they had to start dividing up. So they split up and they started having their own spades tournament. They were probably in competition, trying to outdo each other by serving the best food, the best drinks, and having the best door prizes. Can't you see them getting mad because people have stopped going to one person's tournament to go to the other? But isn't that how it is doing spade games? Somebody gets mad and says, you know what? Next time I'm going to go over to your other sister house because they know how to treat you over there. So you say, okay, go. I don't care. But you do care a little bit. So you might send a spy over to see what is going on over there and why everybody rather go to that house to have big fun. Abram was a gracious host, though, because he said, you know what, Lot? I've been winning for a while. So I'm going to let you choose where the next spades tournament is going to be held. And I don't have to be your partner no more. So if you think you can play better and win with somebody else, by all means, pick your place and pick your partner. So my first question is, wait a minute. So Lot decided to go east. No, that's right. Where did Lot start his set up for his spades tournament? I kind of gave the answer in the face in the beginning. What you say, Shantanese?
Like where did he go? Didn't it say he went to Jordan?
Yeah, he went to the Jordan River. Why did he pick the Jordan River to set up for his spades tournament?
It was well watered. So I guess he saw that it was like potential that he can do farming there, crops and all that.
Yep. So he felt like this land would be a good place for him and his people to flourish because he cared for the material abundance of the land and he cared nothing for how it would impact him and his family spiritually. So he's saying, okay, we about to have this great spades tournament. We need a land, we need a water, because sometimes, we might play strip spades. They might want to get in the water. Or we might want to have a pool party and have a spades tournament at our pool party, at our barbecue. So he started thinking about all different ways he could make more money and not thinking about nobody else but his profit. So now that he had to pick somebody else to be his spades partner, who did he pick to be his spades partner? It's in the text. It is it is.
Is it his servants?
Sodom?
No. He picked the men of Sodom. Who said it?
Okay.
He picked the men of
Yeah,
Sodom.
Sodom.
Yeah, he picked the men of Sodom to be his spades partner. And they was evil and they were sinning immensely against the Lord. I said also, they was probably cheaters in the game as well. Trying to cheat, count cards, like you said, Ebony, reneging. All that they were doing to cheat to win. Where did Abram choose for his spades tournament?
Was it the Jordan Valley? No.
Hebron.
It sounded like he was in a desert. Somewhere it wasn't fruitful. Let me see.
Canaan. Hebron.
It was Canaan.
Yeah.
So Lot basically had everything that was left. The Lord gave him, he said, look, north, south, east, and west, and I will give you and your offspring forever all the land that you see. So he got all the land for his spades tournament, and Lot had just took down by the River Jordan for his spades tournament. but he thought he was winning because, of course, when they were together, they were kind of equal, even though we knew Abram had more. But Lot was flourishing. He was being blessed. He had things. Wasn't nobody trying to steal from him. He was winning in a spades tournament. He was in a winning circle. So I said, all the land which you see from north, south, east, and west, I will give to you and your descendants. God told Abram, walk around and look at this land that I'm giving you to play your tournaments in. I don't know about you, but I would like to play spades in this land, because if you want to write this down, the name, it said, so Abram moved his tent and went to live near the oaks of Mam, Mamre, and Hebron, that's where he built the altar. So Mom means vision, Mamre means vision, and Hebron translate to mean communion. So Abram walked in the Lord's vision for him and in communion with the Lord. So he had the better place for his spades tournament, because he was operating in God's vision and in God's communion. So what verse in chapter 13 stuck out to anybody?
For me, I would say it was verse 14.
Verse 14. Go ahead, read it.
The Lord said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, lift up your eyes from where you are and look north and south, east and west. I highlighted that because it made it sound like he was kind of like sad and in sorrow for having to actually part with Lot. I didn't know if maybe that was the actual case.
Yeah.
Like,
You
it
got
sounded
your
like he just
spades
kind of,
partner. You
mhm,
know,
mhm.
your spades partner you always play with, and you gotta let them go. I'm sure he
Yeah, he
was
was hurt.
sad, yeah, and had to find a new partner that he could trust. But what I
Hmm.
like about that verse, Shantanice, and I want everybody to highlight in their Bibles, the word, well, in my Bible, it starts with after Lot left or separated. However, yours say, underline that or highlight that. Because
Which
remember
part?
when we read after Lot had separated from Abram? So
Okay.
after Abram said, okay, Lot, go ahead on about your business. I'm getting me a new spades partner. Remember when we read last week, we realized that Abram wasn't supposed to take nobody with him. But he took Lot, his nephew, because for those who don't know, Lot was Abram's nephew. He took him with him on his journey that he wasn't supposed to take him. So if you look at this, after they separated, that's when the Lord gave him more. So finally, the promise that he gave him back in the other chapter came to fruition in this one, because now Lot is not with him anymore. They separate. So, God's promises still come. It might take a little bit longer, but it still come. So he got it after he said, we can't be space partners no more. Is there another verse that anybody want to talk about?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. You want to read it?
So disputes broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot. At that time, the Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, Abram said to Lot, let's not allow this conflict to come between us or our herdsmen. After all, we are close relatives.
Okay. Why did that stick out?
Because most families fight.
Mm-hmm.
And
especially during spades games.
I feel like, yeah, not just spades games, period. It could be who gonna get the bigger bed on vacation, who gonna get the bigger room on vacation, stuff like that. But it always takes like the bigger person to stand up and just be like, we supposed to be family, let's not fight.
Mm-hmm.
So that stood out to me also because Abram, it just seemed like he had enough conflict. He was over it. And he just wanted them to be, he wanted to love him from afar. He wanted them to still be family, but just from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
And families do that too.
Yeah, where
I
he said,
love
you know
you,
what,
but
I gotta let you go. I love you, but I
right.
gotta love you from down the street. So I like that too. And I like when he said, you know what, it's enough land for all of us. And he was, like I had said in the study, in the lesson, he was still very humble because he said, you know what, I'm gonna let you choose. That way it won't come back saying, well, you chose first, or you got the best land anyway. So he still let him choose first so that he won't have that to complain about. So I thought that was a good point too. Anything else?
I like verse 16 and 18.
16. You want to read it, Sherry?
Yeah, it says, I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted.
Mm-hmm.
And then 18, so Abram went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he pitched his tents. There he built an altar to the Lord. So in 16, I like that because here is where he said he really believed what God's promise was to him. He said, I will bless your offspring like the dust of the earth. Dust is so small and minute. It's so many. It's so countless. You can't even count it. So he gave no stop and end date. He said, I'm going to bless your offspring. And that went from generation to generation. So he promised him that it was more than enough for him and his descendants. But I think this is where I really feel for me, that I feel like that he really put his faith in God and really listened and believed what he was saying. Because then when you drop the 18, that's when he said, where he pitched his tent, there he built an altar. So now you rebuilt an altar, but this altar was one that you really believed in. This was one that you said, hey, I really hear what you're saying, Lord. And I want to really hear what your plan is for me. For me, not for others, but for me. And I'm willing to do what you tell me to do.
And he got that after he took a long walk. Because remember in 17, it said get up and walk around the land, right?
Yep.
So you know how when we move into a new place, we might pray over the house and pray over the land that the Lord will protect us. So that's what I pictured when he was walking and taking a long walk, that he was walking and praying and saying, wow, God, you're going to get it all this to my offspring. You know, and so I bless this land, and, you know, just pray that no evil spirits would come and no bad things would come. And I like that because sometimes we take what we feel God gave us and we don't even say thank you or build no altar or give no offering to him for the blessings that he gave. So I definitely like that. Before we move to chapter 14, is there anything else anybody want to discuss in 13? Okay.
Just one more thing about the dust.
Go ahead, Sherry.
When I was looking at what dust meant spiritually, it said that it symbolizes humans a part of creation, but it reflects dignity. So he found his dignity on his walk with himself, with God by himself. And that's something you need to do for yourself.
Let me write that down in this Bible. Dust equals dignity. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so now we're gonna move to 14. Now I'm gonna let y'all know some of these names I'm gonna mess up, but y'all gonna get the gist of it.
It's all right.
Okay.
I had to read it twice to get through this.
Yeah. I read it like 5 times, but I'm just letting y'all know y'all gonna get it. But in chapter 14, it said, in those days, King Amphraphel of Shinar, King R.E.A.L of Elasar, King Shedalamer of Elam, and King Tidal of Golan waged war against King Bera of Sodom. King Bishop of Gomorrah, King Shinab of Admar, and King Shemember of Zebolium, as well as the king of Bela, that is Zor. All these came as allies to the Siddim Valley, which is the Dead Sea. They were subject to Shadalamor for 12 years. But in the 13th, I got the 13th highlighted. But in the 13th year, they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and defeated the Raham and Ashtoreth Karnam, the Suzim and Ham, the Emim and Shavith Hiratam, and the Horites in the mountains of Seir, as far as Alparn by the wilderness. Then they came back to invade in Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and they defeated the whole territory of the Amalekites, as well as Amorites, who lived in Azazon Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zebulun, and the king of Bela, that is Zor, went out and lined up for battle in the Ziddim Valley against King Chedorlaomer of Elam, King Tidal of Gorm, King Apharah of Shinar, and King Arioch of Elisa. It was 4 kings against 5. I got that highlighted. Now, the Ziddim Valley contained many asphalt pits, and as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into them, but the rest fled to the mountains. The 4 kings took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food and went on. They also took Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, for he was living in Sodom, and they went on. One of the survivors came and told Abram the Hebrew, who lived near the oaks belonging to Mam, the Amorite, the brother of Eshcol, and the brother of Aner. They were bound by a treaty with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken prisoner, he assembled his 318 trained men born in his household, and they went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he and his servants deployed against them by night, defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah to the north of Damascus. He brought back all the goods and also his relative Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the other people. After Abram returned from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him in the Shaveh Valley, that is the King's Valley. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was a priest to God Most High. He blessed him and said, Abram is blessed by God Most High, the creator of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has handed over your enemies to you. And Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. Then the king of Sodom said to Abram, give me the people, but take the possessions for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand in an oath to the Lord, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread or sandal strap or anything that belongs to you, so you can never say, I made Abram rich. I will take nothing except what the servants have eaten. But as for the share of the men who came with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mam, they can take their share. Okay. So in Genesis 14, the game is about to get good. I can't stand playing in a spades tournament and somebody don't know which is the big or the little joker. And I get real pissed when you play that little joker thinking it was the big joker. And that is exactly what Lot did in Genesis 14. Lot didn't know which joker he had and played the wrong joker at the wrong time. And what happened? He and all of his possessions got taken. It's obvious that Lot wasn't a good player and he was only winning because he was on Abram's team. Because since he left, he was losing a spade tournament. Before he got taken, I can only imagine the tricks he was trying to play to avoid losing. You know how desperate people start reneging and pray they don't get caught. For those who don't know what renege is when you play off the suit that started the hand because you're trying to win, or you might not even know what you were doing. I have to believe that Lot didn't know what he was doing because he didn't start experiencing his hardship until his head got big and he left from under Abram's covering, which was important because we know Abram was under the covering of God. So everything that he touched was going to be blessed, and his spades tournaments was going to always win. And just like any good spades partner, when you see your day one is down, you go back and you get them. So what did Abram do to get his day one back?
He gathered all his troops and went to war, basically.
He went to war. He gathered his 318 men, and he went to war to fight for Lot, his relative, and Lot, his spades partner. Now that he got his day one partner back, what did Lot do? And this is important because we're going to come across Lot as we read more into Genesis. But I hate to tell you, Lot does get Abram set because he goes right back to Sodom where he was kidnapped and they stole everything from him. How was Abram rewarded for being a king of the spades tournament?
Wasn't he offered like wine and what was it? Wine and bread?
Wine and bread. Mm-hmm. So the king, which was important because not only was he a king, but he was also a high priest, which wasn't really common back in the Old Testament times. So he was like the highest of the high. He had a feast at the tournament where he served bread and wine, and then the king blessed both Abram and he blessed God. Abram is blessed by God, the Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God amongst the high, and who handed over his enemies. So not only did he bless Abram or gave Abram his props, but he also blessed God for what he did too. So what in chapter 14 stuck out to you?
So Sodom, that was where all the evil people was doing wrong, right?
Yeah, when we get to Sodom and Gomorrah. Mm-hmm.
And then Abram still gave them back their people, his people, even though they were the one that was evil and doing wrong. And kind of like I don't really know, but Lot was falling under their leadership instead of. Okay, I was making sure I was following. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lot started doing what a lot of people do, flocking with the company he keeping. And so he leave this spades tournament over here, and he goes and say, I'm gonna have a better spades tournament. And you can imagine what kind of big fun they was having with the sinners. You know, Abram probably had good, clean fun. Lot probably had the prostitutes, the drugs, the liquor. They was probably gambling. They probably was doing all of that in his spades tournament. And so he became so trustworthy that he started trusting these men that he now became partners with, and it blew back in his face. Because how many stories have we ever heard that when you leave one firm and you go to another one because you thought the grass was greener, and you realize that underneath that green grass was a bunch of dirt? And I think that's what Lot realized. But when he began to realize it, it was too late. Because when they started coming in, and he probably was like, well, why they doing this? Because he never experienced that with Abram. So sometimes you experience other things when you leave the original G. Call him. I'm just gonna start calling Abram the OG. Anybody else got any other thing that they want to point out?
Do you think Lot thought that possessions was more important than people?
Absolutely. 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 Yes.
My thing was I wanted to know why the 13th year they decided to rebel. What made them kind of say enough is enough? We want to just start rebelling. Then after 12 years.
Okay, so the number 13, I knew somebody was going to ask this. I was pulling it up. The number 13 is the number that represents Satan, evil, wickedness, the devils, and everything that that is connected to them. So you know how sometimes when you go in buildings, you don't see a 13th floor. You'll see a 12, and then you go to 14 because they didn't said that 13, the actual number 13 is evil. So I'm thinking that I think that once they got to the 13th year, they must have took that evil to 10,000, and they said, I done had enough. So now let's do something about this. Anybody else have anything else that they want to pull out? Because I also had highlighted that it was 4 kings up against the 5. But the 4 won. So, I mean, even though they overtook him, sometimes less is more in this instance, unfortunately. Anything else stuck out?
Yeah, I see in verse 20 where it says Abram said, and praise be to God most high, who delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. So I've always been the one when I wanted to I always question where you get this 10% I'm supposed to give to the church. Wait, where you get this? But right there, and it started like back then, he said, God, let me give you back something for all that you've given to me. Let me bless you with something. And that was crazy when I saw it. I was like, oh my gosh, there it is in my face again. Because every time I'd be like, I'm not giving you all this. And then I'd be like, oh.
And I saw that. I saw that too, Sherry. And that was when I was saying how when Lot went to the Jordan River, right? Because think about it. He had to grow up hearing what Abram was saying about God and knowing how good God is or was to him. And he was reaping the benefit of what the blessings that God had gave Abram. So then he left from under Abram and God's covering and chose to think another way.
Yeah. And
so when he got his land down by the Jordan River, it didn't say he gave 10. It didn't say he built an altar and gave praise to God. It said he took that land down by the Jordan River and said, peace. See you when I see you. Anything else? Because I had to think like, dang, well, we're gonna know when we get to Sodom and Gomorrah what kind of people these people really were. So I mean, when we get to that chapter, you're gonna realize like, well, they was really, I mean, I don't want to say wicked, but because in a sense, we all got a little bit of some of the things that they did because we gamble, because I like scratch offs. You know, I like playing spades.
My thing was because to add on to what Sherry said, because now that makes sense. I thought initially when I read verse 20 about and blessed be God most high who delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abram gave him a tenth of everything. The way that I took it, I thought Abram gave the priest of God 10%, but he actually gave whatever to God. That's correct.
So
am I getting it correct?
Abram is blessed because this is what the guy said. He blessed him. The king said he blessed him and said, Abram is blessed by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has handed over your enemies to you. So that was the end of the blessing. And Abram gave him, when I say him, I'm thinking the king, because he would be like the pastor of the church. Because he was the king, but he was also the priest. So I was thinking that he gave the high priest the 10th, which is when you pay your 10th, your tithe to the church, you're not paying it. You people be like, I'm not giving that preacher my money. You giving it to the church, which is in standing in statute for you giving it to the Lord.
Right, like giving your gratitude.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. I guess it kind of goes hand in hand what we do now versus what he did back then. The other thing is like just reading from when we first started reading about Abram to now, it's really cool how you see his transition to being somebody that's now honorable, that's now having faith, and that's now kind of like leading and following God's path, coming from a
Yes.
place of how he was really like just trying to live this sneaky, conniving life before.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see that transition slowly but surely.
Yeah, because in chapter 12, the Lord said, go from your land, go from your relatives and your father's house to the land that I will show you. So from 13 on, so then we get to 13, because it was a whole chapter later. That's when but you know, it had to be some years in here. He finally was like, you know what? God told me not to bring you with me, but I was hard-headed and I did it anyway. So you know what? Go ahead. I'm tired of having you be in my spades tournament, because you know how people be somewhere where they don't want to be, their attitude change. You can see it written all over them. And you be like, you know what? I don't even want you to be my partner no more. I'm going to take my chance with somebody else. I'm going to teach somebody new how to play. You know, we think about when we started playing spades. Where did we learn how to play spades, right? We had this conversation, and I just be laughing because you wouldn't think, like, people like, I learned how to play in school and during lunch or during study hall. And then we find ourselves now as parents teaching our kids how to play spades. And I'm laughing because I'm like, I remember, you know, we'd tell stories like my father swear he the best spades player on all God's green earth. And he swear he can beat us. Him and his best friend, they play us and they supposed to win every hand. And they don't be winning. And they want to blame it on the alcohol. Wow, you know, y'all must have set this deck. How in the world? That's be the funniest part when people say you set the deck. How you set? You gave me the cards. I didn't get the cards from you. I mean, I got the cards from you. I didn't come in here with these cards. But that be the best part, when the people know that they gonna win and you don't say nothing. You just be like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and pretend like I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, okay, talk your talk. And then at the end, we'll let the scores show who the real winner is. So anything else before we decide? I show you how I'm gonna bring in today's thing to the today's Bible study. Anybody else?
I kind of relate Lot to drug dealers because he was so quick to get it easy. He was looking for the easy way.
Money.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
Lot was. So you think he got a hustler mentality?
Yeah,
but
he by getting it by all means, no matter who feet he stepped on or at the expense of other people, as long as he living that type, as long as he getting what he want, living the high life.
But a negative hustler, not because
exactly.
You know what? Okay, let me write that. Negative hustler mentality. Any other characteristics we want to compare a lot to when we talk about what he bring to the spades tournament? I like it, Ashley. I ain't look at Lot like that.
Okay. He's naive.
Yeah, because he fell for them people inside him. I like that, Caitlin. He naive.
Yeah.
So he don't have no streets. So then he a hustler with no street smart. They the worst. He a wankster. You know what? I'm gonna teach a lesson on that. It's coming. When I say what the title of the sermon, Jesus, of the lesson gonna be, and I say it's gonna be he a wankster, don't fall. If anybody who don't know, that's my favorite song by 50 Cent. So we gonna break down wankster and we gonna break down the lyrics, because Lot is a wankster. Let me write it down. So Lot is a wankster. Anything else? That's a fake gangster for those who don't know.
I feel like he was like self-destructive too.
Self-destructive. Anything else?
I think naive was a good one, but I think he also seemed to be gullible. Like he was easy to prey on because all you had to do was give him a little bit of gold, and he in there. So he just seemed very gullible.
And a little bit of water. I like
A
it.
little bit. Yeah.
So
He
basically,
was persuaded real easy.
he fell for the banana in the tailpipe.
He did.
hmm
And he was selfish.
What they
Yes, he
say
was
when people
definitely
in jail
selfish.
too? A cot. What do they say? Uh, two cots in a pot. That's all he needed.
No, three
That was
cots in a
it.
hot, three hots in
Yeah,
a cot.
three. Yeah, that's it. That's all he needed.
Ashley said he was selfish. And do we think, I mean, because it's obvious he didn't care about the people that was playing in his tournament, because he put them in a position to lose.
It never said how he tried to help them in any way. He just said they were there with. It just said they were there with him,
Because
but
in the
never gave any
beginning,
detail.
right here in
I
the
don't even think
beginning,
we said thank you.
yeah, he didn't say thank you.
He did not.
He went
It
right
never
there
said
beside
that.
him
He
after
wasn't
he
even.
rescued them.
Nope.
Yeah.
He didn't even say thanks for
Yeah.
looking out, bro. No.
So in the beginning, it said in chapter 13, verse 2, Abram was very rich in livestock, silver and gold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it also said, so was Lot. But I want to know, how was Lot? Because but where did Lot get it from? He had to have been blessed because he was connected to Abram. It said Lot, who was traveling with him, also had flocks, herds, and tents. But it ain't say how many. So you can you imagine? But in the sad part is Abram was the uncle, Lot was the nephew. Now I ain't gonna say he was older, because we got some people that the nephews and the uncles be the same age or very close to it. So I'm not gonna say that they were older than each other, even though Abram, was the uncle, but it don't necessarily mean that he was that much older. So he should have had some wisdom. Because when I be playing cards, I be like, "Ma, look at my hand. What you think I could get?" Because she an OG. So she play cards. She know what it look like. I'm thinking this, but I'm gonna see what she think. She see, because sometimes the OGs see something you don't see. So it don't seem that he asked him for no advice. Like even when Abram said, "I'm gonna let you choose first," Lot ain't say, "Well, what you think? You think if I go here, you think this gonna be good for me and my peeps?" He just said, "Nope, I'm going down here by this river because I feel like I'm gonna be able to flourish here."
Also, Lot was very like calculated. Like it just seemed like, even though it don't say how Lot accumulated his wealth, it wouldn't surprise me if he sat back and watched Abram, how he succeeded and accumulated his wealth, and then like he used that and was like calculated in all his moves, and he watched his uncle and he was like, yeah, like kind of like manipulative almost, like he
and
was just
sneaky.
yeah, and sneaky. Like that's why I said like calculate. Like he just like
Calculated.
watched them
I
maybe. You know, it
I
don't say.
agree.
You think he was
I don't get the gist that he was like like you know how we keep saying he like a drug dealer. I don't get that gist. I get the gist that he was like more so a thief. I feel like he either stole from the king, or he like when they got banned from the king that we read in the previous chapter from his whatever it was.
Yeah,
I
from
feel
the
like
palace. Mm-hmm.
yeah, from the palace. I feel like maybe he stole some of his stuff, or maybe he was stealing from Abram under
Probably.
his nose. Like he
Mm-hmm.
gave me the gist that he's like a sneaky like you said, manipulative,
So I got
conniving
sneaky. And
thief.
you think he was a user?
I was going to
It's
say, because it
possible.
never said that he ever was asked to do anything. It just said because he was associated with Abram, he was blessed. So he just
Right.
was on his back saying, whatever you got, that's what I want. I'm going to go with whatever you say is fine with me. As long as I can gain from what you have, I'm okay with it. It never said, because when it said he was being Abram and all his, offspring will be blessed, he just went along with that. I think for me, I think Lot was just there for the ride. Like, I'm just going to go with you. You know, there was no specifics that ever said that Lot God had ever talked to him, had ever given him any plan of what he wanted him to do. It just said he was there with Abram. So I think he was just there piggybacking off of whatever aid he could gain from Abram. Let me just go ahead and follow what you say.
So, you know, I like that. And it just took me back to last week's lesson when we talked about having a plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lot ain't had no plan.
He didn't ever have a plan. They never said he had one, and never said that it was even mentioned. It never mentioned a plan for him.
We write that down. Lot didn't have a plan.
He didn't say nothing at all. Like, even when they were in the palace and Abram was telling his wife to lie, he ain't had no say.
He ain't say nothing.
When he got rescued, he ain't had no say. When he parted ways, he really ain't had much of a say. So he just like, that dude makes sense. He just like a yes man.
A yes man.
Or
that's
the
word.
Beneficial.
That's it right there.
That's it right there.
Yes man. So he ain't really. So you don't think he thought for himself, because he did pick the land. He didn't let Abram choose the land for him. He did pick that land.
He chose the land because it was the prettiest land, and he thought he could flourish there.
Piggyback off of what Ashley said.
Yeah,
he picked off of what he could gain.
Yeah, and then he wanted everything to come easy to him. That's why I kind of like referenced him to a hustler, because hustlers, that's what they want. They want stuff to come easy to them. They don't want to work hard, even though easy money ain't easy.
And that's why a lot of them fail.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Let's watch our let me get the sound together. Let me watch our what's the name for the day?
Hey yo, it's the Val here in Trinity. The duo you didn't know you needed, aka Zach and Rodeo. We here at the Stands BET Space Tournament.
I had one question for BET. Who's coming in second?
This is what our 8th annual Wade's Stand Space Tournament.
Who are they? What's their name? Doesn't matter, because we're the winners.
I forgot already.
Yeah. Oh, we gonna win tonight?
We gonna win tonight. You
we
already know
gonna win tonight. We top 2, and we ain't number 2.
That's it.
Look at this tournament. That's what it's about. Taking a game that I played when I was a kid and bringing it to life as an adult for everybody to enjoy.
Yo, what up? This is Kenny the Jet Smith. Y'all lucky I didn't play this year.
We won the first round. We're a little bit overzealous.
Got
in the second couple of rounds.
And then it all around.
It all just a little bit. Just took a L, so I'm not really happy.
The fact that we lost to these brothers, I'm proud of myself. I'm still standing. I'm still strong. It's a quote from Red Tail.
My BET family, my brothers and sisters on BET, they in the Final Four right now, getting ready to hold it down and bring home this W. In the Val and Trinity, they finna win this thing right now, trust me. Taylor and Grant ain't got nothing on them. Hey, y'all can bring the trophies out now.
I want to first thank God for this opportunity. I want to thank Trinity for teaching me how to play spades in the car way over here.
I just want to say thank you to BET, Stance, and D-Wade. So all I ask is that y'all invite us back next year to defend our title.
I ain't happy about it. It's just an amazing opportunity for us as adults to sit down around the table and play a game that I've been playing since I was a kid. And he was champions. Thank you guys for supporting. Thank you guys for the love. We couldn't do it without you.
So this tournament basically broke down everything we discussed in this section, in this text for this week. They had the table. People was talking trash. People was mad because they came in second. People thought they was gonna win and didn't. I ain't seen nobody renege. Seemed like they trusted their partners. They picked them in advance, and it still was one winner. So even in the story, the gist is, Abram is the spades tournament king. and I would play spades with him any day. So before we leave, I always like to ask, what did we learn? So what did we learn this week? Well, I learned that you definitely got to pick the right player for your spade team, for your tournament. And you really got to rely on God to set these plans and choose this land that you're going to, and not bite the hand that feeds you. I'm gonna put that in our recap for the week. Anybody else learn something?
Probably that the plan, once again, I guess it's saying that the plan that we may have for ourselves, make sure that it's in line with the plan that God has for you. It may not be a straightforward process when you're going through it. You might have to go through some things before you get to that end of that plan to bring it to fruition. But Abram got to, he got where God wanted him to be. But it's with some hiccups across as he was going along to get where he needed to be.
I like that.
For us, it didn't say that our journey is going to be easy. And it didn't say, how it's to play out. How we wanted to play out. But it has to play out the way he wanted to play out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really nothing new that I learned. I mean, but I'm about to make this saying. It just say everything that glitter don't shine, everything that glitter ain't a diamond, or everything that sparkle ain't diamond. However the saying goes.
Everything that glitter ain't gold, girl.
That part. That's the thing. Just refer that back to the Lot, because he saw that land and thought that it was
gold,
the bomb, and the whole time his fall. That's where his fall began, right there in that land.
That's when he started. He chose. No, Ashley, he chose the wrong partner. He chose. That's where his fall came. He chose the wrong partner. But I'm gonna put that in our recap. Everything that glitter ain't gold. Anything else?
I learned that you can build and prosper in any environment if it's just you and God.
My God. Caitlin.
We just talked, so I was on, I was about to cry. So
yeah. My God, everything that glitter ain't gold. And wait a minute, one more time, you can grow in what, Caitlin?
You can grow and prosper in any environment if it's just you and God.
All right, Pastor Caitlin. Caitlin.
Yes.
Come through.
Yes, I told her we missed her last week. You can learn and grow.
Yeah.
In any environment. Anybody else? As long as you have you and God.
I think what I took from it was how important it is to really take heed to God's message and try to follow his instructions specifically. Because how sometimes we always be like, well, I'm gonna just do it this way. Because it's more than one way to do it, but I can get there this way too. I'm gonna do it this way. But the outcome doesn't always turn out as you see fit if you always try to take your path instead of the path that he wants you to walk.
Especially
so it's always important to listen to those.
Absolutely no, but especially if you listening and you asking God for signs and he send them to you, but you don't want to pay attention because it ain't the sign you want. So I definitely like that, Shantanice. That was awesome. Anybody else want to share what they learned?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like part of the story is sometimes you have family members that'll take the wrong path, make the wrong decisions, and you have to be that person that goes back for them and support them and uplift them and show them the right way. And sometimes they don't get it right again. You don't give up.
I like that, Courtney.
Me too, Courtney. I like that.
So even when your partner renege and get y'all set,
you can be disappointed, but you gotta
give them another chance. You know that sister that's going to rename, that's going to remain nameless. we gonna teach her that one. Okay, so you gotta give.
That's true.
You gotta.
But I'm sorry, but I'm loving them from a distance, Courtney.
It's fine. That's fine.
Because Lot was a hot mess. he needs some maturing first before I go back to him.
So okay, I'm a word it good when I send it back to y'all. Okay, so you gotta give family another chance. Go back and get them.
what about the courage that Abram displayed, by even going to war?
Yeah, that's true.
Even
Because
going back to get his nephew.
and
not to do that.
Yep, not to mention he could have lost his life, and he could have lost the lives of the men that he took in the battle. And and like that's a great point, Ashley, because he still went back and got him, even though he got himself in that mess. So
my brother's keep.
Yeah, I like it.
And he didn't let all the glory make him big-headed, because once they were kind of like trying to praise him for what he did, it didn't make him big-headed. He still remained very humble, which was very honorable.
And even when the servant came, the spy, that's what I call him, who was spying on the tournament, when he came back and told Abram what happened, he ain't even sulk or say, you know what, he got himself in that. He went immediately into relative love action and say, you know what, I'm going to go get my loved one. Okay. Abram went back with no questions asked. But he ain't asked nothing like how many men they got, none of that. He went into battle, and I like that. Abram went back. Anybody else? Okay. We learned a lot this week. All right. So I thank everybody who came to the Real Bible Study this week. I hope you guys did learn and gather some type of knowledge from Lot and Abram, and know how to better maneuver through these upcoming spades tournaments, y'all, because it's getting warm, and when it's hot, we play cards. We're gonna have to have a Real Bible Study spades tournament. We all get together, but we ain't gonna be turning over no tables, y'all. We're gonna be still sisters when we leave. And those of us, we're gonna have a beginner's table. We're gonna have a beginner's table, Caitlin. We're gonna have a middle table. We're gonna have a middle people table, and we're gonna have the advanced table. Now you get to pick.
Can you have a commentator's table so I can sit at the commentator's table?
No, but you get to pick what level you feel like you on.
I don't want. Look, I like Uno. I don't got time for speeds. Y'all crazy. I'm not commentating.
Shantanice, I'm not crazy. I plays the game. I'm not crazy. The sister that's gonna remain nameless. That's not the one. I'll tell you who team you want to be on and who team you don't, especially as a beginner.
I'm just saying, play Uno with
It's nothing wrong with a little competition.
You hear Courtney? You hear Courtney?
A little competition to keep you on your toes.
Nothing wrong with it. Shantanice, you see, that's one per cup. You might not want her to be a partner.
She love a little competition,
Brennan said he want to be a commentator too.
You might as well make that table. See, it's two of us already. Let's do it.
Okay. We'll get it together for y'all. We'll get it together.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. See y'all next Thursday. And I'll send out the email with what we're reading next. And I hope you all enjoy Bible study. And I'm glad that y'all took some time to keep it real with me. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Have a good weekend.
You too.